Good morning. How you guys feeling today? All right, so we're back at it again. As you can see, my windows are completely iced over. It is freezing out here, but we'll get to that in a minute. Of course, before we begin, if you could hit that subscribe button with your knuckles, you're an excellent puncher with knockout accuracy. Let me know in the comment section how you guys feel about the editorial, so to speak, if you would. And again, you can see all the fucking smoke coming out of my mouth while I'm talking, so it's freezing. I got the heater on in the car. That's what that noise is. It's cold as hell. First thing I wanted to discuss today, the whole Jussie Smollet attack. A gentleman from what the hell's that, Empire, I believe. He's one of the characters on there. He got attacked in Chicago. And a noose was left around his neck, and he was called racial slurs by people wearing MAGA hats. So, first things first, him being homosexual, the first thing I noticed was two different media sources saying different things. You had one media source basically saying that he was attacked because he was homosexual, and you got another media source saying that he was attacked because he was black. He was both. And again, the narrative is trying to be spun to turn it into like a homosexual issue. I think it's falling right under the whole LGBTQ community thing, and they're like adamant on pushing rights for gay people, equality for gay people, which is neither here nor there for me. It's not one of those things that I can completely focus on. But with that said, I noticed that they tried to take away the whole racist narrative from it. And I think this is completely messed up, man, because what happened. The man was left with a noose around his neck, and he was called nigga and shit like that by MAGA hat wearers, racist, so to speak, of course. Then that shit should be what it is. It shouldn't be let's take the other part of it and blow that shit up for our purpose. And that's what happens too much in media, man. It just gets spun. So that's one thing I definitely had noticed. Different areas you go to, different media sources, of course, left and right. There's so many different facets for media now. It's hard to keep track of all of them. But yeah, that man was definitely attacked for being homosexual by some MAGA hat wearing dudes. So at this point, it's like, yo, how bold do you have to be to wear a MAGA hat? Like, if you're a Trump supporter, because everybody already knows what time it is if you're wearing one of them fucking hats. Everybody knows what time it is. That hat has a horrible reputation. So with that said, how bold do you have to be to wear one of those? I usually only see people wearing them when they're out in groups, or unless like you're in an area where it's like all white, and you might have one white person who knows he's not gonna get any shit for wearing that hat. But I've never seen anybody bold enough to wear it by themselves, to wear it in like an area that's diverse, or like a black area. It's a bad fucking idea. So yeah, that's one thing I did notice, man. And the shit's gone crazy because over all this time, America's supposed to be here progress forward and stuff like that in certain aspects. But the more forward we move, the more backwards we move. It's crazy how that works. So that's interesting as hell. Moving on. It is supposed to be as colder than Siberia, I believe they said, and Antarctica, both in Chicago this week. Right now it's 9 degrees outside. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. As you can see, my windows are completely frosted over, of course. We talked about that a second ago. And man, I'm not sure how cold Antarctica gets, but if you're telling me that goddamn Chicago is colder than Antarctica, that is insane. That is crazy. Man, I hope everybody has an extra heater next to their bed, man, because you might not be able to get out of bed. You might be stuck in your bed. Like, you might literally be frozen in between the sheets. You might be bonded to your covers and shit. So that's wild, man. I think the coldest it's been so far for me, I think one time here it was like 0 degrees. That was a long ass time. I think that was like, I want to say 2013 or something like that. I can't remember when it was, but it was cold as shit. Freezing cold. It was so cold that one of those construction site cones, the little rubbery ones, the triangular shaped rubbery ones, with the black base and the orange middle. It was so cold that I had went outside and one of those was sitting outside. Do you know I kicked that bitch and it shattered like Sub-Zero was fatality in that shit? That was crazy. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, it was nasty out here, man. Nasty out here. So yeah, I feel bad for homeless people and all that. People who don't have anywhere to live, man. This is not the kind of weather that you can just be sleeping outside in. So yeah, that's crazy, definitely. Another thing I wanted to talk about, the government being reopened. Today is Wednesday, and from what I was told by a friend of mine who works for TSA, he was saying that they're supposed to get paid on Thursday. But I was reading an article just yesterday that a lot of those employees, the lowest paid ones, aren't getting back pay. Like shit, this shit is a horrible ripple effect that's been caused by this whole scenario. And I think Trump's aware of what's going on. I think the only thing he opened it up, the only reason he opened it up for was because his presidential approval rating was dropping even lower, if that was even possible. That shit was dropping lower, meaning his supporters are probably TSA workers. A lot of them probably work for the fucking government. And because he shut that shit down, they probably don't even back his dumb ass no more. Man, you talk about trying to put a fire out with fucking gasoline. That shit was wild. That was a bad move on his behalf. Bad move. But hey, motherfucker's there now and he's already fucking shit up, so we gotta sit through and let him finish fucking shit up until 2020 and elect somebody else, I guess. I know I'm not gonna be voting for Kamala Harris. I did some research on her. Yeah, she's not the... I think we need to focus on tangibles. You know, there's a hashtag going around right now, tangibles 2020. I think that's something we need to be focusing on, tangibles, things that we can actually have for the black community, you know, the LGBT community, which is an excellent point. I had never really thought about it until it was mentioned a few different times by Tariq Nasheed, and he basically said that you know, LGBTQ, they had got all these laws and policies passed, and then so did the immigrant Mexicans and things like that, immigrants in general. But it doesn't look like black people actually got anything. And you know, a lot of other policies that were made for us, quote unquote, they got overruled by other groups. So I think that's something we need to be on the lookout for our vote for 2020. You know, tangibles that we can actually have in order to improve our communities. Of course, empower us a little bit more too. I think that's what we need, man. Or at least laws that if somebody fucking calls the police on us unjustly, they go to jail or something like that. That'd be nice. But you know, a man can only dream. So with that said, you know, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Of course, I'll be patrolling the comments, and if you got any questions or if I was inaccurate about anything, let me know and I'd be glad to address it. In the meanwhile, I will try to holler at you guys on the next go round. Peace. I'll punch this clock now.